Victor Wembanyama wasn't right in Las Vegas. I mean, sure, third quarter, hitting threes, 10 straight points, but fourth quarter, everything changed. Wemby checks in with 8 minutes to go against the Knicks. Instead of bailing his team out, things got worse. This man goes 0 for 4 in the fourth. 3 of those shots were threes. I'm sorry, the thing we loved so much about Wemby this year was his game. Finally embraced being a big man again, dominating with his size. But in his biggest NBA game ever, dude no-shows a fourth quarter, settling for threes and the boards? While Knicks dominated the glass, Wemby was nowhere to be found. What happened? Well, pretty soon we found out. Not only is he coming back from injury, didn't even start the game, but dude was in tears after. It turns out his grandmother had just passed away, and he was carrying that emotion with him all day long. So I'm not saying it was an excuse, but the Spurs will put the league on notice. They can get this far, a quarter from winning the cup, without Victor Wembanyama. I'm talking without full-strength alien Wemby. Oh, sure, they don't beat OKC without him, but the alien turned human, and they still looked great. In fact, for the first time all season, there was a moment where OKC all turned to each other and said, oh no, we're in trouble. So Wemby started that OKC game on the bench. He was out for over a month and came back just for this game. And the Thunder were up 11 points after 12 minutes. And if you watch Thunder games, this is the script. The other team kind of hangs around before OKC crushes their soul every time. Feels like the NBA is already over, they're so dominant. But then, Wemby stepped on the floor for the first time in a month, and for the first time all year, OKC had a problem. Grabbing boards 1-on-4, hitting near logo threes at 7-6. So in those first 7 minutes that Wemby played, Spurs won those minutes by 20 points. The man dominated them. So the Thunder all sat down after Wemby's minutes and were like, oh no, he is back. This could ruin all our big plans. But this is so much bigger than just Victor Wembanyama. Before the season, you won't believe what people predicted about this team. I was legit shocked looking back. But this video is sponsored by Warby Parker, whose frames I have been wearing and loving, not just because they look and feel good, but because these glasses start at just $95 and prescription lenses that include anti-reflective and scratch-resistant coatings. Now, I found these glasses called the Bodhi by just walking into a store. There's one right by my house. I brought AM Hoops Jr. They were so great with him. Now he's actually wearing my glasses around the house just playing around, so I have to go back. But they have stores all across the country. Also, you can try their virtual try-on in the app to quickly visualize shapes and colors, which is a lot of fun. And the variety there is amazing. I was walking around the store for a while. Always premium materials and in-house design, plus a mix of timeless or bolder silhouettes. And by the way, they've got free shipping, free 30-day returns. You can use your vision insurance or FSA, HSA, and the Buy a Pair, Give a Pair program, where every purchase helps somebody in need receive vision care, which is amazing. So shop frames from Warby Parker via the link in my description or the QR code on your screen, and thanks again to Warby Parker. ESPN put them at 16th in the power rankings, below the Clippers, Mavericks, Bucks, Hawks, and Celtics. It was popular to pick their under win total because of Wemby health and spacing concerns. After all, they did just draft another guard who can't shoot in Dylan Harper. Could be a disaster. Instead, the Spurs were amazing to start the year. They go 8-4, Wemby dropping 26 points, 13 boards a night with 4 blocks, but then, November 14th, he goes down with a calf injury. Now, at the time, the Spurs were a 6 seed. How far would they drop without their franchise star? Well, it turns out they got even better. Rose from 6th to 4th in the West, and a lot of those concerns went out the window. So the last month without Wemby, Spurs went 9-3 with wins over Denver, at Orlando, and the Lakers. The leading scorer was De'Aaron Fox at 25 and 7 dimes. But the real exciting part was the Slash brothers, Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. Castle dropped 30 points in LA with improved shooting this entire time, 50% from deep. Some of his finishes inside look impossible, but the cool thing is they've let Dylan Harper be an actual rookie. There was some concern they'd asked him to do too much. They've got so much depth. that Harper comes off the bench, not asked to be a hero. And it helps that whole 3-guard thing when only 2 of them were on the court at the time. Even themselves, before the season, Spurs players were asked what their goal was for the year. Many said just make the playoffs. But doing this well in the cup is usually a sign. Like 2023, the Pacers lost to the Lakers in the cup final, but it coincided with them becoming a real contender. Last year, OKC loses to the Bucks in the cup final, but immediately wins the NBA title. So this Spurs run is scary, especially with a weakened Wemby. So the Spurs, way ahead of schedule, proving all the experts wrong. But the Thunder are still top dogs. And I hope to God this becomes a real rivalry, because Victor Wembanyama hates these people. You know about the Chet Holmgren beef? Well, Wemby took yet another shot at Chet, and this one was actually kind of a low blow. So these guys go back to teenagers, France versus USA. The US won the U19 World Cup. Chet was named MVP. But comparisons were everywhere. Oh, Chet's the American unicorn. Wemby from France. Who's better, Chet or Wemby? So once Vic got to the NBA, he wanted to shut that down. Dude hates being compared to Chet Holmgren. He believes there is no comparison. Wemby thinks he's in another universe to Chet and is insulted whenever people question that. So every time that Wemby plays OKC, it's personal. Dude saves some of his best plays for the Thunder, and Chet specifically. So when asked how tough it would be playing against Chet before the NBA Cup, Wemby said, you know, anybody is hard to guard when you have to help on the MVP. Like, don't ask me about Chet, ask me about Shea. And more importantly, don't put me on the same level as that other guy. He's not my concern. But after the game, Wemby threw shade at their entire team. He said a very specific word for the second time in 3 days, almost telling us he's doing it on purpose. I'm just glad to be part of something that's grown to be so beautiful, so pure, ethical basketball. Ethical basketball? What does that mean? So they asked him. Well, in modern basketball, lots of teams don't offer much variety. Lots of isolation, forced basketball. But our brand of basketball is more old school sometimes. The Spurs way, it's tactically more correct basketball in my opinion. So first of all, that is a very French thing to say. Like, yeah, we just play correct basketball. But man, that is spicy. Basically, he is blasting the ISO ball that SGA plays and the way that he draws fouls. And yeah, it's a skill, but sometimes it feels like Shea will go into a shot without even the intention of scoring. Like he goes into it trying to draw a foul, which is very unethical. Makes people mad, including Wemby. So if these two teams do become rivals, it will be so much fun. Wemby alone isn't afraid to talk trash, and they are young enough that this could define the next era of the NBA. Both teams are smart, they stack picks and players to beat the second apron, but what kind of rivalry would it be? CBS brought up 3 types of NBA rivalries, and I love it. Type 1 is Lakers-Celtics, pretty evenly matched, with both teams swapping titles for a decade. Type 2, Pistons-Bulls, where the Pistons were an elite defense but eventually gave way to a generational Michael Jordan. And Type 3, Warriors-Cavs, met in the finals a ton, but let's be honest, one team was the dynasty, the other was the underdog with a face of the league, right? Like it was a fun rivalry with the Cavs sneaking through to win at least one title. And honestly, I have no idea, but if Wemby stays healthy, I would expect this to be Pistons-Bulls. Nobody thought Jordan could get through that 80s Pistons defense, but once he did, it was all over for the NBA. And that's exactly what the Spurs have, that no other challenger like Houston does. They have an alien, one-of-one Wemby. And we all just saw what he can do, even not at full strength. But we can definitely forget about the Spurs trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. A report just came out saying they are not interested after all. So what happens now for the Greek Freak? And why are some of the best teams not going all in to get him?